good evening, and welcome, ladies, gentlemen, people who identify as otherwise, and Anthony to host for this wonderful evening on racing here on the SSRI channel. I'm Oliver Anderson, Mr. One of Oliver. Joining me in the commentary booth will be Jitse Miedema for some reason. And behind the cameras, as always, are Grandpa Chris Hill. So, Jitse, commentary booth, really? But why?
Yeah, I thought why not join instead of just watch. So yeah, here I am.
But then we have less viewers. You know that it's what it's all about.
That is true, but maybe some ladies would like to hear my voice. I don't know.
All the ladies are watching. All the ladies are watching. Well, not this week. Obviously, it's better for the tier 1. Then Basis Mom will be here as well.
Yeah, but then I won't be here. I won't be driving. So yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome to the halfway point of the SSRI season of the second tier. We are here at Misano for this wonderful evening. A track that I personally like a lot. A track where there'll be, well, drive-throughs galore for those who can't keep their wheels within the track limits. It's really strict around here. Some decent overtaking opportunities, some decent murder opportunities. Some corners good for racing, some corners not so good for racing. Interesting pit lane, slow coming out, fast coming in. With a corner, it's really worth practicing around here. We know from experience that you, Jitse, are a pretty decent driver around here. Do you have any good tricks for the drivers before they head out on track for qualifying?
Well, I always tend to mess up T1 and 2. So I would, yeah, my trick is always take it easy there, and otherwise just stick to the track limits, but be on the limit. Yeah, it's really a thing here.
Track limits, but be on the limit. The limits of reason or the limits of the track, you say?
The limits of the track, yeah.
Okay, so you can go over the limits of reason and still be fast.
Yeah, so yeah, in a way.
At least that's what some people think. Maybe Chris have a championship standings he can pull up on the screen so we can have a quick look at that before we go into qualifying. Yes, I know that I'm stressing him a lot, but here we go. A little look on the championship standings. As we can see, Sebastian Reinl leading the championship ahead of Timo Sidek. And Dennis Miller in third. The triple Germans leading out this championship. Not that often we see three from the same nationality up in the front, but those Germans are pretty damn quick. With a Dutch guy, Pascal Wieder, in fourth position, though I think that he has signed out for the remainder of the championship. So maybe it's just night, who knows? But yeah, pretty decent driver. Some Polish guy in fifth position. Frank Hopp, the fastest AM driver, being in sixth overall. He have had some tremendously good results this season, finishing sixth and then second at Snetterton. As an AM driver, that's pretty unexpected, and someone might have been sandbagging a little bit too much in the preseason testing. Who knows, though he had a not so good race at Kyalami last time. I do think that he retired. Mick Shanklin's coming in seventh, tracing him very closely, and Franz van der Linden on the ass of him. Dominic Giese won't be racing anymore this championship since he have other real-life applications that he have to tend to on Tuesday evenings. Which I think that he should just move to another evening so we can see him racing. Of course, Andy King rounds up the top 10 in the overall championship. Shout-outs to Ian van der Linden and Mark Saniel, who's the remainder of the top 3 for the AIM drivers. Maybe that's where the real interest will be later on in the championship, as it is getting a little bit German in the top side of the overalls. Few drivers still haven't raced at all this season, though they have more points than some of those who have. Looking on the very bottom of the screen, we can see Wout van der Weert, or Wouter van der Weert, having a negative 6 points. You know, that's a result in itself that commands respect. Though stuff happens in these kinds of races. I think he did get disqualified last time out, but yeah. Life is life. I think that I'm getting a weird tingle in my ear. Someone's putting a stick in it. Would you mind stopping that, Chris? Yes, we can have a track guide. Jesus, can't we afford something better than a shed in this community? God damn it! But and it's not a stick. God, whoa, Chris, maybe you should save that for the ladies then. Anyways, Jitse, would you mind talking us through Misano?
Ooh, okay. Well, here we go. This is the main straight. we go to the turn 1, which goes right. Yeah, this turn is for me always pretty difficult because you can take it a lot tighter than I usually think. So yeah, I try to keep it easy. Turn 2, make sure you get a nice exit, because turn 3 is pretty much flat. Maybe when you have high fuel load, it's not flat, but usually it's flat. Then you need to keep an eye on your braking point, because it's very easy to outbrake yourself in the next turn. And yeah, this is pretty much a slow part of the track, which means the racing line is super important. And yeah, you need to be on the curb most of the times to keep the distance as less as possible. Here it's very important to get a good exit. This is one of the faster bits of the track. And this is not really straight in, so it's something to keep an eye on. Yeah, spot your braking point, get a nice exit, apex and a nice exit. And then there's an overtaking opportunity coming right here, because it's a shallow corner followed by a tight one, so you can either be really tight on the first one and trying to get in the gap on the guy in front of you. Again, here the exit is really important, because this is the main straight. Not really straight, but it's the fast part of the track. This is all flat, and the next one is also flat. Of course, using as minimal steering input as you can, and use this corner as a dab on the brakes and trying to keep the car stable. And then it's here it's spotting the braking point and getting a nice apex. And then we go to exit is not really important in my opinion here, but this corner should be flat or near flat. And then we go to the last corner of the track, and it's a dab on the brakes, maybe a gear down, and make sure you don't get the track limits at the exit, because it's really easy to do over there. And go to the line as fast as you can.
And that was a perfect lap around Misano, guided by Jitse Miedema.
I try to
As
do
you
my
can
best.
probably tell that he practiced that a lot before this evening's broadcasting.
Yeah,
we are soon to head into qualifying and look at some actual race cars on track. As here we go, I choose the first car that we have in focus. Not having set a lap time yet, as Timo Sidek leads the way with a 34.7. That time is surely to be beaten during this qualifying session, as we could see Ike taking maybe a little bit of too much of the inside there in turn 4. Could be an invalid lap, could also still be worth it, since you can take a lot of that inside and still get no track cuts. One of the few corners that allows you to go very deep onto the curves here, where the curves are actually the limit and not the white line. The reminder of the track, you really need to keep your wheels inside those white lines at all times, since it will invalidate your lap. As Rydell already as both Rydell and Hop and Schenkelins for that matter have already beaten Sidek for the top spot, with a 34.3 at the minute being the fastest lap time, held by Rydell in the Mercedes. The Mercedes are a pretty decent car around here, very fast, and it can take a lot more curb than most other cars can and maintain speed and control in that one. It is a little bit easier than in, like, for example, the mid-engined McLaren, as we are following around here. Ike are about to cross the line and set his first lap time, if it is valid indeed. It wasn't. Anyways, maybe we can get some onboard quiz, and we can see some of these wonderful corners in live action and how to take them. Maybe Jitse will tell us how not to take them if someone's taking them wrong.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. Of course, Rydell is doing a great job. In Kyalami, he was also pretty dominant, so he's for sure looking to repeat that result. Well, there you see, that's a track limit, of course. But yeah, he's probably giving up on the lap and focusing on the next one.
I would assume so, as there's another car directly ahead of him. It is a little bit, I think it's Steve Parker, but it is a little bit hard this season for us to keep track of who's. It's a Racing GP and us are not in agreement on how to choose the numbers anymore. And yes, that was Steve Parker ahead as Reinald bailed off completely, and he's probably going to the pits and grabbing some fresh slicker sets of tires. Steve Parker, one of the guys who truly have no life, with a shit ton of practice laps. Having a good time on his rig. We often see him in the general chat here in the community. Fun guy to chat to as well, so when he's in there, please go have a chat with him if you see him hanging out there alone. Trying to make his life not as miserable as it seems to be at the minute. Either that or he have a girlfriend that he really don't want to see. Hard to say.
I just noticed Johan Planets, he took the first place for now.
Oh yes, I must apologize to Johan that I've pronounced his name wrong all season. From now on I'll pronounce it Johan! And here we're actually following Johan Planers coming on to finish a lap and maybe start another one. Whether or not he have fuel for it, looks like he does, since he's going flying into turn 1 using a lot of that curb. Good to see the Ferrari on track. Taking the sausages there on the inside, as well as sleeping policemen or baguettes, whether or not that you are English, British or whatever you would call it. Decent drive. The Ferrari is also a good car around here, very stable indeed. Good mechanical grip, good traction out of the corners, as we did see him put on a little bit of slide there. I often do that myself as well, though it's not intentionally when I go around that corner. Not the fastest way to come around there, but you are so interested in getting on the throttle as early as possible, coming out of that sequence of corners to make the most out of the straight that you're heading onto. As the blue 81 comes into yet another one of the tricky corners, and just as you brake, there's a kink in the track that for some people they choose to trail brake it, some chooses to go straight with the foot on the brakes there. What do you prefer, Jits, in that corner?
Oh, it really depends on how I feel and how the exit was in the previous corner. It's really a corner for me. I get it wrong like 50% of the time, so it's quite a difficult one for me.
So you just take it as it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not the best way.
No, but we all do that from time to time. I don't like it either. I have a tendency to, when I plan on not trail braking it, then I'll still trail brake it. And when I plan on trail braking it, I will not trail brake it. So braking is always awful for me there. As Johan still leads with the 33.7, excuse me, 33.7, which is a pretty decent time here in the second split. You can see that Sim have joined in the chat. I hope that you're not planning on beating that time, Sim, next week. To give the rest of us a little bit of a chance catching up to you in the championship, maybe. That would be grand. As we follow Timo Sidik around, top 3 driver in the championship. That Team Hot Air Balloon Motorsports Racing Lamborghini have been fast this season. Also a good job on the livery with the German flag on that small rear fender, whatever it is called, coming down from the back of the roof, leading onto the spoiler of the car. Beautiful, beautiful design they've put together there. One of my favorites in the second split, and well, to be fair, overall in that's definitely not a valid lap anymore. And one of my favorites overall in the entirety of the SSRI community. Only one car beats it out for me personally. That would be the CBSR Mercedes. I've always liked that car. They do small livery tweaks to it every season, but it's basically the same all the time. We have seen it for so many years now. And you know what it means when you see that car. Some drunk-ass Dutch people driving around having fun.
Yeah, exactly that. I really have to admit the CBR guys and the hot air balloon guys, they really put some time in the liveries, and it really looks amazing.
Yeah, I think it means a lot to them to look good on track. Do you have a preferred, or do you have a favorite livery in the community, maybe even an old one per se?
Ooh, that's a really difficult one. I think I saw a Braun GP Mercedes, and I really like that livery on the car. It's not too special, but it really looked, yeah, nice.
Yeah, it just pops in the eyes, you know. I think I do remember that one as well. Not on track, but I have seen the pictures of it in the famous livery channel that we have going, as we are following Bouncer Ritz around in a little bit. In my opinion, it's a little bit strange having different liveries on the two sides. It does work since it makes the Belgian flag Oh, it's still kind of strange, but
Yeah,
beautiful car nevertheless. Both of the ideas from the black and the red side would have been cool liveries by themselves. And
definitely.
maybe they just couldn't decide upon it and meshed it together to create their Belgium flag.
Yeah, my artistic brain cannot handle this.
No, it's too crazy. That's why I prefer when I race not to load any other liveries but my own, so it'd just be a ton of black cars running around the track.
Oh, I would be so confused running all the black cars, because I never look at the names. I always look at the cars.
Oh, I don't look at either, I just race people. Sometimes I get a blue flag, sometimes I don't.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. It's Dennis Meter we follow around, another of the German top contenders in the league at the minute. 0.3 up currently on his fastest lap. This could be an improvement, though it will not put him further up than 9th position. 10th it will be for him. A little bit slow coming out of the start here. 6 minutes 45 seconds remaining in the qualifying. Still a lot of time to improve, and maybe a small mistake here and there can be ironed out and some time will be found. Or maybe he just doesn't like the track. Steve R coming on, he's finishing a really hot lap. Crosses the line, jumps up into 12th position. Good job from him. P2 in the AIM Championship on the grid at the minute. Top left from Parker, Frank Hub leading the AIM category at the minute. Pole position for the AIM cars and the leader of the AIM Championship by a country mile at this point. Around the corners we go. Good braking there, maybe a little bit over braked it into the fast corner. Yeah, pin looks good. It might be invalid from that. It looked like he cut it a little bit too much, but he's still going flat out as if it wasn't. Doing everything he can just to get the practice in, maybe. But if it's not invalid, it could be a fast one. He'll be starting another one as he crosses the line now. It probably wasn't valid since he's not jumped up. But it was his fastest time. Well, it must have been in... No, it wasn't valid. That's why it didn't pop up in the last lap. Here it is, my CBSR liveried car. What a beaut. What a beaut. First time that Aaron will... not the first time he's in the qualifying, but I think that if he races, it will be the first time we see him in an actual race this season. Or maybe he have been and just haven't been up there or done anything interesting enough to be shown on the stream. Van Doren also one of the dinosaurs of the community. A little bit fun to see him in the second split this season, but that's also a sign that things have improved a lot of driving standards. He used to be one of the fastest drivers. He's still one of the fastest drivers, but a lot of newcomers have come, and a lot of the drivers that might have been slower the other years, they have improved a lot of their skills, and that's why he's stuck here in the second split at the minute. As he didn't improve on his last lap, still P8 in qualifying. Though this have also been a struggle for the CBSR team in the Endurance Championship. They don't qualify very well, but they have extreme race pace when they go out on track. They can just keep pounding in those good lap times, even if they, even after having chucked an entire case of beers. They will still keep going.
Maybe they just chuck the beers in the car when they qualify.
Oh yes, I actually think they have like sort of, you know, those beer helmets.
Exactly, yeah. Just add some weight with beers instead of extra fuel.
Yeah. Johan giving us a little wave there. Current pole sitter. Maybe he have ego retired already. I think that's a little bit too early, Johan. I mean, Johan. Okay. Only 0.3 down to Timo, though he's crossing the line on a hot lap at the minute. It looks good, though. Small improvement. It was not by an awful lot. I think 7/10 there, or 700ths of a second rather. He improved, so now he's only 0.3 of a second behind Johan. Planners in pole position. Van Doren coming full speed, improving ever so slightly, though. This could be a good one if he nails the final corner. A little bit safe there, but he might have been even safer on the earlier laps. Crossing the line, P2 from Van Doren.
Really nice lap.
Great lap from Van Doren there. He must have found the magic formula there to get those spears. Maybe swap down with water for this evening's event, and that's why we see him unlock the pace of the Mercedes. The Snag & Sons Audi, one of the few Audis that we see in sprint racing these days. Also in endurance for that matter, but good to see the Audis also represented here in the second split. Patrick Prince coming around, currently 6th in the standings, or 6th in qualifying I should say. Well, it would be the qualifying standings of course, but hey ho. Into the hairpin he goes, tied that double braking into the corner. Didn't get it right the first time. Looks like that could have been full throttle, though a little bit doubtful. Small tap of the brake on the brakes there, keeping good speed. An improvement over the line. We'll see maybe yes, P4 for Patrick Prince. Getting it done. Getting it done nicely, and it looks like that either Johan have Ego retired and are staying in the pits, or he'll leave the pits very shortly to get another lap in. I don't think that he will. Van Doren also unlikely to go back on track, though there is movement in the pits at the minute. That's Sebastian Reinl, who looks to come out for one final attempt. Don't think that he will actually make it around at this point and get the lap started. It is a long pit exit.
No, it looks like Johan and Reinl, or Johan and Van Doren are staying in.
It does look like that, yes. Improvement by Mick Jellikins.
Yep, picking up one spot, going in front of King.
Good job for him. That Polish guy coming around the final corner now, also on a decent lap. Hope he doesn't throw it in the final sector. Good improvement, it looks like, on the timing boards. Up to P6, putting Shinklins down into 7th. He still have time for one more, the Polish guy. Oh, that's not the Polish guy, this is Partis, of course. Oh, is that the Polish guy? Chris? It is the Polish guy, I'm being told in my ears. Sidek also on a good lap at the minute. P3 in the standings. This could be a potential pole if he nails the final corner. His lap times, or his splits, have looked green so far, coming over the final line. Oh, must have been invalid. He looked to be the new pole sitter, though we still have time for one more flying lap. If he does have the fuel in the car, we'll have to see. For him coming around, the 7 car might be struggling to make the line. That's Sebastian Reinl. Will he make it 10 seconds? Not through the final corner yet. Start finish straight. It's going to be super tight for him. 3, 2, 1. Yes, it looks like he is on a flying lap. He did manage to cross the line there with literally a second to go. Good timing from Sebastian Reinl and the BM Machine Racing V3. Long team name that I'm not going to say a million times this evening, hopefully. As the drivers now trickling over the start-finish line, finishing their qualifying. Those with a P on the side of them, or Reinl didn't validate there or didn't improve enough. The other BM Machine Racing are doing a good job improving at the minute. Not for pole, but it is an improvement that could put him well within the top 10 if he keeps up going. Coming to the line, doesn't stay right there, but what does he do? P7, good improvement there from Meter. Shows good pace in the Mercedes as well. A few of those in the top. Timo Sidek, final driver, who's still on a flying lap. Can we see an improvement from him? Maybe he can beat out Van Doren. He won't need much. On a very good lap, he could maybe give trouble to Johan. He does beat Van Doren. P2 for Sidek. But wow, what a crazy strategy from Johan there, putting it Ego retiring so early.
Yeah, there was a lot of courage for him.
Yeah, he only had to do, what was it, 1 lap he did, or maybe 2 flying laps, and then a pole position and back into the pits. Relaxing and getting ready for the race. Good job for him. As we are looking at Chris's cousin standing with the yellow flag. Ready to wave that sucker as soon as people crashes. But it's before the races, are there any specific things that you like to do when you sit there with the setup menu and everything, just checking through maybe a checklist that you have?
Well, the thing I always have to pee. I always have to go to the toilet. Always. So that's usually the first thing I do after the quali, and then I usually already have the strategy done in the setup. So I just look it over, see if I have new tires for the race, and yeah, just mentally prepare.
Do you?
Yeah, it will be foamy, yeah, for sure.
Do you do the same as well when you get on the grid with the 30-second countdown? Do you go there early and then start checking the pit menu once again there to double check that, or do you just trust in your settings from the setup?
No, I always check the setup, the menu and stuff. Yeah, of course, because sometimes I get a brain fart and I do something and then it's not the way I want it, and yeah, that will mess you up during the race. Because when you're driving, I usually don't have time to to scroll through the pit strategy thing, and or I do it and I mess up the racing. So I usually make sure it's all set up and right and correct, and yeah, so I can focus 100% on the driving.
Yes, that seems like like the best idea to do. On when you're going on the formation lap, warming the tires and brakes and getting everything into temp, what's going through your mind there when you do that? Because for me personally, when I drive the formation lap, warming the tires and the brakes, I start thinking about the start, imagining what the people around me will do and trying to figure out what I will do if they do this, and if they do that, then I should do. Do you do the same, or do you just focus on your own driving into the first corner?
Well, usually I look back at the person behind me, see how aggressive he is with warming up the tires and stuff, and you can get a little bit of an idea what he's going to do. But otherwise, it just you go with the flow and trust your experience and trust your instinct, and yeah, just do it.
Just
Yeah.
do it. The reason why Jitsa is only looking back is because he's always on pole.
No, that's definitely not true. But it's the one thing you don't control, right? You don't control what the people behind you are doing. You can control what you are doing, so you can anticipate on what's happening in front, but not on what's happening in the back.
Yeah, mostly preparing yourself for the massive hit of the great direct drive wheels when you get murdered.
Yeah, that you can do. Yeah, when you see something coming in the mirror, you can just hold on or let go or whatever.
Yeah, as we finally get to see the cars lined up on the grid. Just over a minute until we start the formation lap, as I think Chris will run us slowly down through the field. On the left-hand side, we have Jan on pole position. Timo sitting in second place in that wonderful Lamborghini. Good job getting that up there. Aaron Van Duren, one of the drunken guys. P3, just sneaking into that top 3 for him. Still second row of the grid. Patrick Prince in the Audi. Good qualifying for him. Superb job, good driving. Row 3, Sebastian Reinl will be on the right-hand side. That'll be your left on the screen at the minute in the Mercedes. And Parties on the left-hand side of the starting grid. Finishing off row 3. Row 4, Dennis Meter and Mick Shinkelens. Interesting to see who's going to come out on top there. The Lambo seems to be good off the start, but so are the Mercedes from time to time. The Ferrari of Andy King and the first AM driver, Frank Hopp, all the way down in 10th position. We haven't seen him that far back so far this season in qualifying. Not optimum for him. Wouter Blitzma and Cohen Green in Cohen Geens with one of the greater liveries as well, the Martini livery, has been running over the top of Ike Chus and Steve Parker, with Ike's teammate Iron van der Linden behind him. Peter Brooklyn in one of the Belgium cars, a missing car on the grid it seems like, and then Bouncer wins, and Van der Woert rounding out the grid. As the top drivers have started moving, I wonder if someone's in the pit lane still or someone disconnected maybe. A little bit strange that only 18 drivers on the grid. We saw that empty slot out near the back. But it doesn't seem like there's anyone in the pit. Someone is missing from qualifying.
Looks like a disconnect or something.
Yeah, probably. Strange nevertheless. I was about to say their loss, our gain, but it's also our loss, their loss, our loss as well. More likely as we see the drivers starting to warm up the tires and brakes around the track. Now that we have you Jits here in our small shed, and thank you for coming by the way. Not in your pants though, I prefer you if you don't do that. But there we come, it's Van Dryle, who wasn't on the grid. He'll be starting from the pit lane then. And what do you prefer on the formation lap? Weaving or warming tires and brakes with the brake?
I usually prefer the brakes, because I've seen some people in the past doing the weaving and going out of control in the wall. So I usually do the brakes. Yep.
That's interesting, as we'll see the drivers do differently just as they please. This will be the final lap of racing, or final lap, full lap around the track, where the cars can ghost through each other, as when we go green there will be full contact except for in the pit lane. For mysterious reasons. This is literally the quiet before the storm. Next time we see the cars coming down the straight, they'll be on the north side of 200 kilometers per hour. Going flat out through this first kink on the back straight. So it won't be long until we see them start. It will still be a few meters before they line up side by side, but it won't be too long from this point out. Interesting to see if Johan can keep his advantage over the rest of the field into turn 1. As he does try to psych them out there by gaining a big gap. Showing Sidek that the only thing that he'll be seeing of that Ferrari will be the rear end.
Yeah, I'm sure John is looking to take off like he does in his plane every once in a while, but I'm sure Sidek will try to keep up with him.
He will definitely try his best. Final bit of side-by-side action, as they're still trying to warm up their brakes, as we can see when they go back and forward. This can catch some people out of position when they have to line up, as it looks like Van Doren did get into a good slot there. The Audi next to him getting a little bit of an advantage, though they fall back. Start line we go. Right in the second. We are racing, ladies and gentlemen. Great start from Timo Sidek. Johan falling a little bit back. Van Doren comes up to put the pressure on as well, with the Audi behind. Everyone seems to get through 3 wide further back in the field. No one gets murdered in the first corner. Someone did get pushed wide there in the second. Timo Sidek have taken the start. A little bit surprised to see that Johan messed that one up so much after that he have done so well in qualifying, outpacing everyone. He'll have a mission ahead of him trying to get the lead back from Timo Sidek. Van Doren getting a good start as well, keeping up with the leaders. Reinl seems to be the car behind, and Patrick Prince have fallen a little bit into 6th position, losing out 1-2 Sebastian Reinl. Johan doing everything he can to put the pressure on, but Sidek will not be fooled by this. Sidek out one of the more experienced drivers. He haven't led that many races of my remembrance, but he will try his best, as we have seen that his IQs have been off the track early on, and the 18 car Van Dryle have left the pits as well. This is one of the worst tracks to start from the pit lane at, because you have to go slow for such a long time. First time down the back straight. Anyone brave enough to dare the overtake into the fast corners? Didn't look like it. But they are very close further back. A yellow flag have appeared. That's a 217. That's Frank Hopp. Frank Hopp, the AM leader, have gone off as well. That can have huge championship implications that he's so far back now. He'll have to fight his way back to regain a bunch of points from the other drivers, as Sidek have flown away from Johan there. Here we see Frank Hopp. IQs have almost caught up with him at the back of the grid. So let's see the loss as he crosses the line. He was leading AM from the starting holds 3.6 seconds. You have up to Peter Brooklyn. Interesting to see if he can get that caught up. Still the pressure's on, with the 2 Mercedes being very close to each other through these corners. Looks like Van Doren did get a slightly better exit there than Sebastian Reinl. On board with Reinl here. This is basically the view that the drivers get. Some prefer different camera angles as well. Some go a little bit further forward, some go further back, some go up, some go down. That's individual preference from the drivers, of course, but I do believe that most of them aren't using the first person cam. This is such a scary place to be down the straight. Having the lack of aero coming into the braking zone at the end can be a huge pain in the butt. I didn't say ass this time, Chris. You must be happy. He he's it does look like he's a little bit on error on top speed. Maybe Aaron are running a slightly more low downforce setup. It could be, as we know that that might be one of the better ways to run your race car around here. It might not be super good for qualifying having the low aero, but in the racing situation it will be very tough for other drivers to make an actual overtake through most of the corners here. Some side-by action looks to be happening just in the background of the camera shot between the Audi of Patrick Prince and the Ferrari of Andy King. Patrick does have his mirrors full of King at the minute, leading, I wouldn't say a train as they're still technically in the lead train, minus Siddick, although Siddick have fallen back into the clutches of Johan Planners, as Planners have taken the fastest lap on lap 2 of racing. Here we go, now it's not Patrick Prince this time, but it's behind King and Shixlins that goes to the outside. No, is that a Mercedes? That's a Mercedes. Where did that come from? That's Meter on Partis. Oh, because I was looking at the wrong place on the standings. That's Meter trying it on the outside of Partis, as King are right behind him. He could probably sit there and wait for Meter to make the overtake and follow him through if possible. This is a place where I wouldn't want to have the Mercedes behind me. The Mercedes are normally such a fast car compared to most of the others. As you can see, the gap is closing in the slipstream. Attempting the inside move into the corner of death when you go side by side. Will there be enough room for both of them? Meter does play it very smart and give a lot of room on the outside there for Partis. As Meter does get the move done in the end, Partis falls into position behind Meter. Great driving from both drivers there, but what a move from Meter. Very daring coming into that corner.
Yeah, it was a very daring move, but in fairness, Partis really left the door open. But they played a fair game. It's the start of the race, they have a long time to go, so anything can happen.
Yeah, I think most commonly in the second split people will keep the door left open and let people go to the inside and hope that they'll just make a mistake in these situations. They are normally very clean drivers in instance. More often than not happens because of too aggressive overtaking than aggressive defending. Great run from Van Duren out of the slow corners as he looks to be making the move on Johan Planners, as Van Duren have taken the fastest lap of the race. Van Duren goes to the inside. He does have a better line than Johan Planners. He gets the move done. Planners tries to cut back. That will be the outside for the next couple of corners. And the door is there. He does have the room, but look at that. Who's behind Meter? That's Sebastian Reinl trying to squeeze it in and make it a double Mercedes overtake in a very short amount of time. Reinl gets towed behind Planners at this point. I wonder if he's brave enough to do the same into the fast corners. No, it looks like Ryan will have left off the front a little bit there to allow for Planners to have some racing room. As Planners goes wide, Ryan goes up to the inside. Van Duren doesn't get the greatest corner either. Ryan in almost overtaking position on Van Duren through that sequence. Both Mercedes overtaking Planners on that lap. Unfortunate for Planners, as he now have to defend from the Audi of Patrick Prince as well. Interesting to see how this will pan out and whether or not that we'll see drive-throughs in this race. This is one of those tracks that a lot of track cuts are normally had. Ooh, that got really close there for Patrick Prince. As the train snakes through the first section, not the greatest place to make overtakes. I have seen them done into this particular corner before, but it's super risky and daring to do. You basically want to pray that the other guy doesn't turn into the corner if you want that to work. Everyone coming nicely through there, a little bit wide from Patrick Prince. If he doesn't let off the throttle, that could be a potential track cut for him. I think that Mitza might be counting the cuts in his head mentally and keeping a track on who might not have the warnings. As Ryan gets loose on the exit, that leaves the door potentially for Planners. Though not enough of an overspeed there. Van Duren leads the train of battle for P2 at the minute. Reinl and Planners are taking slightly different lines through that hairpin leading onto the back straight. I don't think that Planners will have the legs in that Ferrari to run with the Mercedes coming down here. He will throw iffy on the brakes from Planners, as he looks to be losing the position now to Patrick Prince. He's stuck on the outside. Will he be left there to dry? He did get left there to dry. awful start from Johan Planners in the first couple of the opening 5 laps of this race, going from P1 and now all the way down to, what would that be? That would be P5 behind Patrick Ritz, and under pressure from Dennis Meter, who currently have the fastest lap. Meter does look a little bit to the inside Planners defense. That could be potential issues. Slight contact was made, but so far fair racing between the two. Meter goes to the inside, still have the inside onto the tighter corner. Look at that, looks like Meter might be done there by King as well. As King comes to the inside, ooh, he turns in on him. They're still side by side, even though that they had the contact. King gets a move done, and no. Oh, that's Partis. I'm sorry, I thought it was King, but that was Partis. And it all ends in tears as they make contact at the final stages of the first sector. I don't think Partis can be too happy about that one. Though that could have been pure frustrations from Planners, the two of the P, the Pole and the Dutchman. I assume that Johan is Dutch with that name. Yet you can't confirm that maybe.
He is living in Holland, but he is from origin. He's Spanish.
Ah, dos moito por favor.
That's
basically all the Spanish that I can say. And then vamos a la playa, of course. Anyways, back to the lead battle, or battle for second place, as Timo Sidek have gapped these drivers by 2.3 seconds, as they have been fighting a little bit in the opening laps of this race. The two Mercedes going in almost fighter formation, as Dominic have joined in as well in the commentary booth. Though Dominic, you should be racing, goddammit.
I know, but I couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Of course you could. You could just go home a little bit early, skip the shower.
I was on a meeting with the company. I couldn't.
Of course you could. Of course you could. Anyways, it's getting super crowded here in the commentary booth as Dominic Gies have joined in as well. Maybe he will put a few words on the racing action, as he's probably haven't seen shit of it so far. But this is the story so far, Dominic. Timo Sidek leads the race after starting in P2, getting a good start and overtaking Johan Planners into the first corner, and basically maintaining the gap ever since down to P2. Johan have had a pretty awful start or opening section of this race. He could potentially still come back, as we did see a lot of pace from him in qualifying. So Archie Bargy and Frank Hopp have been off track as well. Van Dryle starting from the pits.
Yeah, you have to see my face now. I'm sitting here with open mouth as I see Timo Sidek on P1. Actually, I would never believe that would happen. Actually.
No. No one would ever have thought that Timo would be leading a race. Never ever would that ever be possible.
Never. I'm thinking I would be also there up. Oh man, that's frustrating to sitting here right now and not racing yet.
Well, then you should have been home earlier. That is 100% your fault.
Of course it's mine. Maybe
Dominic, you could actually do great practice for Kyalami now. Just join it now and pretend that we had a disconnect.
Of course. I got a disconnect, yeah. I think mid-session join is on, so I can join. I just drive on track and everyone is thinking, what is he doing right now?
He's so far behind, he should just retire the car. Anyways, Patrick Prince picture the Snag & Sons machine, the lone Audi here in the second tier. Doing a good job of keeping that car in P4. It is a reasonable car around this track, as a lot of cars actually are. I don't think there's a single car that I wouldn't like to drive around here, since it's one of my favorite tracks personally.
Yeah.
Very fun to drive, and good memories as well from this track. Vinyl getting closer and closer to Van Duren. Slight different lines here. He always seems to let off a little bit more than Van Duren through this corner to allow for the room and take it easy and not have the contact. But do remember, it is a long race, halfway point of the season coming up throughout this one. With about 22 minutes and 30 seconds to go, we'll be halfway done with the racing in minutes in this second tier season. As Van Duren and Wild keep spelling it out duking it out between the two Mercedes. Not a terrible car around here, super good on the curbs, good speed down the straights, but when you're up against another car of a similar manufacturer, or from, in this case, the same manufacturer, it can be difficult to find the place where you can make the overtakes. You basically have to outdrive the other driver or hope that you have a much better setup than him to have a true advantage. Of course, they could be running different fuel loads, though it might not differ that much. In tonight's race, there is a mandatory tire change as Ryan goes a little bit wide there into the hairpin at the end of the first straight on the track. There's a mandatory pit stop in this race, but only for tires, so we'll probably see a lot of drivers diving into the pits in between the 35 minutes remaining and 25 minutes remaining mark, depending on overcut, undercut strategies and stuff like that. We have seen the undercut work wonders before in the second tier. Haven't been as strong in the first split, but it could happen as positions have been swapped further down. I think that was Schenklin's overtaking Iron van der Linden for P9, which Chris can probably get a picture of. Someone Schenklin's have fallen way back. Oh, well, here, well, they are just way back of parties. Tim Spenkling is asking when will the first drive-through come? Will they put a number, put a time in the chat and put out your best guesses? The driver with the best guess will get absolutely nothing from winning this competition, but it's the fun in competing.
I will award Team of Select for just leading the race.
Yeah, and a good point from Nico there. A little bit of rain looks to have appeared on the radar in about 10 minutes. No, it could disappear again afterwards. That could be somewhat interesting to see what will happen if anyone braves it and yeah, it starts to go too aggressive on the curbs, but it will be a very short shower.
Yeah, we will just have to wait. If it like something like on Saturday, with this medium rain, I would say, or medium to light rain, where you can stay out on the dry tires actually, or
oh, Van der Linden, that's Van der Linden. Iron Van der Linden is off.
It's the AM leader.
Difficult call. That was the AM leader. You're very correct. That Jens. Now it's Cohen Geens, who have had also one of the no life drivers with a ton of practice laps. I don't think that he'll be making such mistakes in this race. That can be a very close battle down there for the AM lead. Currently, they're just 1.6 seconds between the top three at the minute with Cohen Geens, Rins and Steve Parker. Very short shower, people stay dry, says Sim, and yes, I would assume the same, but we never know what people will do in these crazy league races. But ultimately, yes, people who are watching the stream as well, they will know to stay on the dries and just make the best out of it. A replay is inbound. Chris didn't tell us anything about that. This is Iron van der Linden's car we look at coming into the corner. Let's see what happened. Brakes dives in. Oh, it's caused by contact. That is caused by contact. That's the yellow Lamborghini of... the yellow Lambo, I think it's...
Elsma?
Or Blitzma. Well, it's probably one of those two sets. The two other Lambos are not anywhere near him at the minute on track, though he's actually close to Frank Hump now, but that's after the contact that spun him around.
I think it might have been Belsma who just missed the braking point and just, yeah, had no more way to avoid.
Yeah, unfortunate situation between the Silver and the AM driver. Blitzma is not really pulling away from the AM field, though we do have the split at the minute with the top 10 all being Silver drivers before the AMs come, and then Aiko got into some unseen trouble. On lap 1 still back there, but he's getting closer and closer to the back end of the field. It's going to be fun to see him find his way through all of this and see how far he will end up by the end of the day, as Ike comes into picture here in the number 1 car. Though that's a number that have been randomly chosen by Sim Racing GP and not because he's champion of anything. close to another similar car. That could be Iron van der Linden's car. No, that's so van der Wood's car. They all have the same sort of livery. Oh, it's Wouter van der Wood and Iron van der Linden runs the exact same livery, and then I choose the similar looking McLaren. It does look like, ooh, that's caught live on camera. Not optimum for any of these drivers. That will probably cause a lot of damage to both of them, as it looked like that Ike wasn't aware of the differences of speed coming into that corner, different braking lines, or maybe Ike just missed his completely. Hard to tell, but that will be up to the stewards if reported. Van Dryle do a good job of just being in the race still. He started from the pit lane, mind you guys. That's why he's so far back from the rest of the field. And starting from the pit lane on this track are so awful. From when the field gets green and passes the pit exit, then you get released, but you have to drive through all of that pit exit with your pit speed limits on. But he is keeping going. He keeps going, this is what I'm trying to say, as the rain have hit us now.
You got it.
Wonderful,
yeah,
wonderful
there's
rain.
There's the rain,
And
yeah.
track conditions are dropping quickly and decreasing every second they are on the track. Every time they get to a corner now, it will feel different from the lap before. And even just from the corner before. Van Duren and Ryan still very close for P2. Let's see if the rain can have some impacts on that. Track already down to greasy.
It is now an interesting phase.
It goes so quickly. Let's see who adapts best. It doesn't look like that Ryan's actually outbreaking himself by doing what he's doing there. He has been doing the same almost every time that we have seen him. Maybe that's just the line that he chooses to take. Ryan and Van Duren here. Again, different lines. Looks like Ryan might have a very good wet line set up there. As we get the split screens that I can't see a lot of, but that is the Belgium design car, Cohen Geens. That's the this is a battle for a lead in the AM class between all the three of these drivers. There'll be Geens, Rins, and Steve Parker, I believe, running so close together. As the rain have started for them as well. Of course, that starts the same for everyone. Coming down the kinky back straight, or the back straight with the two kinks. It is a very kinky place.
And Ryan goes to the pits.
Where some wang touching often happens, and Winst comes very quickly into that corner. Narrowly avoids Geets there. As we have a pit taker, that's Sebastian Ryan. Maybe it is a good idea to get your pit out of the way while it's raining. To Mita comes in as well, just to get out of the carnage that could happen on track. They'll be stuck there for about 30 seconds as they have to change their tires. It is really pouring down at the minute.
But it would be probably the team decision between Ryan and Mita, because they're at the same team, and probably they think, yeah, changing now tires are best. But I'm not sure what they are doing, if they are changing to dries again, or maybe they are discharging the pit stop and putting on wet tires actually.
I think that they will be taking dries again. If they take wets, then they'll have to come in shortly again to swap back onto the dries, as this is a quick shower that will be over shortly, as it's very close racing for the lead name. As Geens and Wins goes almost makes contact into that corner. As a lot of chat are being done on the YouTube for once. If you're out there watching and are not involved in the chat on YouTube, please go have a go at chatting with these guys. I know that the simulator, the alien himself, Sim Spinkling, is in there at the minute. Crawford, Schröder, some of the other guys that I don't know the YouTube tags of are there typing away. Could also join us on Discord if you want. I think there is a nice what's it called, link in the YouTube description to find our Discord page. As it's a double free car battles as we follow both the battle between what is that? That is Planners King and Parties in the top left, and in the bottom right is the battle for the battle of the aims between Wins, Geens, and Parker. It's really hard to say where to look, as that was that King that went slightly wide there on the top screen, as both of them are heading into possible overtaking spots. A yellow flag have just been shown coming out the final corner. Action all the way around, too wide on the top of the screen. King and Planners. And Johan Planners, yes, a move from King possibly, and down the bottom Rins as well. Snaps the lead of the AM category away from Cohen Greens. And this could mean trouble for Geens. Geens are immediately under pressure from Steve Parker as well. Now he finds himself in the tricky position of being in the middle of a free car battle. As Parker are immediately all over the back of Geens. He'll be trying to do everything in his power to get through and get that class P2 and maybe even challenge wins for the class win of the AIMS. It does feel a little bit harsh to call them AIMS because they are very fast drivers, all of them. No doubt of that. They put so much time and effort into getting these cars ready, driving them, practicing them, strategy, tracks, everything you could possibly think of. As different lines are taking on the top screen, this could be a move from King on the inside of Planners. I mean, Johan, he does force Johan to go a little bit wide there. Outside, not up to me. We'll have to lift here now to get in behind. But still very close. He does try the inside into the next corner. Johan gets a bad exit and takes the position. Andy King moves one spot further up into P4 now, but he outbrakes himself as this brings both Johan and Partis for an option here to overtake. They didn't get the best of drives out that one, and King maintains position for now, keeping very close in the bottom screen. This looks like Parker have gone through, and Geens are making Parker on the right hand side and are through, but Geens on the inside makes contact. Both of them go sliding. Beautiful synchronized drifting there from the two of them. As another Belgian car comes through them both, or overtakes them both. Oh, on the top screen there have been drama. One of the cars have cut the track big time, and King almost runs into the back of him as he rejoins. That looked a little bit unsafe, but I only saw half of it. Maybe Chris can quickly grab a replay of that and prove that he's not a grandpa behind the controls of a computer. As this is the battle for P4 at the minute. 4-car battle it turns out to be right now, with Mick Shinglands also getting into this one now. Andy King gets a decent gap this time to Parties, as Planners have. It looks like it was Planners that was through the grass on the inside of the kinky back straight just before the hairpin. As pit window starting to open, a yellow flag is being shown. That's on the back end of the kinky straights. That's Van der Woert that's parked on the side. He is going once again, cuts through the corner just as we saw Planners does. That can be dangerous as he gets DSQ'd. I was just about to say that when you cut that corner too much, you are likely to get DSQ'd. I have tried this myself. I know that Chris Hill have tried it as well, ruining an endurance race for his good friend Simon Pike as well in the progress. Surprised that wasn't the Misano DSQ fun for. I can't see because there's something in the way for Planners. And the replay is coming up of what happened to Planners. Oh, just touches the curb and goes onto the throttle. Cuts across, but not enough to...
Ooh.
Yeah, he's trying to move out the way when he did that, but miscommunication between him and King there to... After the rejoin, At the back, another DSQ. Van Dryle was DSQ'd as well. He have left the server immediately after. I assume that he also went through the final chicane, or maybe he was speeding in the pits. One of the two. It seems like that we're getting more DSQs than drive-throughs at the minute. A bit surprising at Misano, a track known for its harsh track limits, where drive-throughs are a very big possibility during this race. Same goes for next week's Tier 1 race, where drivers might even be pushing the boundaries a little bit more to gain that ever so slight advantage, as that field is ridiculously close. As they go on, King now have a good gap down to Parties and Signals. As Signals and Planners are duking it out further back. Planners have not had that great race that he wanted to after getting the pole position. Dropping back quite a bit. And Mida gets the first drive-through of the race. That could have been... No, he went into the pits earlier. That can only be track cuts then. As I assume that'll be Ainfleet's horse saying 2 DSQ. That's insane. Just as insane as the amount of beers you had last Saturday. Of course. We did catch you on stream having them, so we know you did. Through the fast corners, the track's still damp, but it have stopped raining, it appears. The rain have stopped, so track conditions will improve ever so slightly. And we might get back up to full racing speeds once again. As we are parking the halfway point of
Oliver.
this race in a few seconds. Yes, Dominic.
Oh. Dennis Meter got a drive-through penalty. He's in pits again.
I said that already.
You said it already? Oh man.
Yes.
Was listening to you. Fuck. Oh no.
You can't say that on stream. You have to say the F word. As Parker comes into the pit halfway through the race, this is the optimum point to pit, though the rain could extend your window ever so slightly. If you didn't kill your tires during the rain.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Probably not because of heating, if you did manage to kill them.
Yeah, if your strategy was to pit now, then you have kind of a dilemma on your hands, because you want, in this kind of conditions, you want more tire pressures, but as the track dries, you want less tire pressure. So it's kind of a gamble what you need to do if you want to pit now, or if you have to pit now.
I think that's Planners in even more trouble. Seems like he's the one causing the yellow flags on the back straight. It is. Oh, Johan! Oh, Johan! Oh, Johan! That's not the best. Terrible day at the office for him.
Yeah, to me it seems like his car is a bit loose, and the rain didn't help, and maybe also underinflated his tires, which makes it even worse, and the car almost undrivable.
It could be. It very well could be, but if I was him at this point, I would probably take the pit stop and get it out of the way and just cool down a bit, get fresh rubber on that car, put the pressures for dry conditions, as the track will dry up rather quickly. But only 17 cars still running in this race. That we'll have to keep in mind. Not an awful lot of cars to dry up the track, but still a few. As Sim is crying in the chat. With the best Dutch driver on track being Aaron van Duren, who goes into the pits for some fresh tires.
And a beer, maybe.
And probably a beer. That must be pit stop traditions for him. He'll probably have Anthony right next to him, handing it over to him, and he's chugging it as he sits there, waiting for the Mercedes mechanics to do their work. If you pit now, it will cause graining. Good point in the YouTube. From Houston. Reinl still on track. Let's see if Aaron comes out on track ahead of Sebastian Reinl, or if Reinl have managed to make the overtake on Van Duren. Van Duren is moving. Reinl goes on to the start-finish right now. It is a long pit exit, but remember that Reinl will have to take the chicane. He'd probably prefer to take the chicane through the first corners. If you don't want to have the same fate as Van der Voort and Van Dryle, this is going to be very close at pit exit. Sebastian Reinl does get it.
You done it.
Reinl gets the position, and would be theoretically P2 in the race at the minute.
It's a beautiful undercut.
Great drive there from Reinl. You mean overcut, I hope. Great driving, and as Tim Lucinek comes into the pit as well. Oh yeah, he does mean undercut, and Ryan loses it and causes a lot of damage.
That's unfortunate.
He just hit the curb on the outside in the exit.
Getting caught live on camera doing that with 3 guys yelling, "Ooh!" Must feel very good after the race. A lot of takers for the pit stop now. Patrick Prince comes in as well for the Audi, the lone Audi in the race. Parties joins him. Parties joins him. I have mentioned that Siddick is in the pits just before Ryan went. Ooh! Singles as well. None of the top 3 AM seems to be taking the pit this time around. Going for the glory of being a little bit further up the field. Whilst the other guys are in there serving their mandatory tire change. Ginza and Van der Linden seems to be in the pits. They're coming onto the pit limits now, and they will have the mark on the side of them. Yes, they do. Timo Siddick will be unchallenged for the virtual lead of this race, it looks like. Can't see that Ryan or Van Duren will overtake here. It will be Van Duren that's the main challenger at the minute after Ryan had that spin. Yes, he has the lead and a good lead of that. He maintains control in this race. Van Duren are the next car behind him on track though. Going through the 2 slow corners now as we speak, crossing the first section a few moments, and we'll see the difference in gap. 6.9 seconds Siddick have to work with. He can take it very carefully for the remainder 25.5 minutes of racing around
he
here.
He actually lost time.
He might have lost time, but it doesn't really matter because it's such a large gap he have.
No, of course not, but I think he lost about a second or so.
Well, that's not an awful lot, to be honest. That's not an awful lot, to be honest. 25 minutes remaining in the race. Still a few drivers yet to pit, but not an awful lot. It'll be Ike and the top 4. Only 5 drivers needs to pit still in this race.
Oh, and Aaron Van Duren spins.
Van Duren spins. Ryan gets back through and takes 2nd position. Van Duren knocks off aboard. This could potentially put the 3rd position in jeopardy as well, as that looked like that was the Audi that came through there. That was Patrick Prince coming through. We even have visual confirmation here. Maybe the beers were too much from Van Duren there, as he loses big time on that. The Wins goes into the pits, by the way, as Prince go over the line here to to get it official on the boards as well that he is past Van Duren. 2 seconds from Van Duren up to Prince, and then 4.6 from Patrick Prince and up to Ryan. As long as we keep temperatures high, no problem. Ambient and track temps are still pretty high. CBSR esports says that. I don't know if you call yourself an esports team when you are that drunk all the time. Though beer drinking should be considered a sport, I wouldn't mind paying money to see you two just sit there and hammer as many beers as possible. King comes into the pits this time around. It's going to be interesting to see where he emerges on track. A few possibilities for him. Chris is being funny in the background, saying that he will merge on the track out of the pit lane. Well, that seems like a factual point you have there, Chris. But where he'll appear on the leaderboards when he comes out. Chris is somewhere in the top 17. Chris needs to stop trying to be a funny guy. He needs to just handle the cameras and be quiet. That was Siddick that came through there. Who will we see next on track going through? Sebastian Ryan comes here. I think Ryan will have quite easily done even after the chicane, but will Van Duren get, Prince and Van Duren get ahead? I think Prince will get ahead, but Van Duren, that could be very tight. Now Van Duren will get ahead as well. But he's much closer to these guys when after coming out the pits is king, as he almost got very close there with Van Doren. So Wang touching is not allowed. Don't do that. That could cause many moments of grief for the other drivers. Juice goes into the pit as we have passed the halfway point of racing in this season. Unfortunately, we didn't pay enough attention to that. Too busy looking at the cars on track. As it looks like the track is drying up in a decent pace. It doesn't look that wet anymore. Greasy, it says up in the corner. But how it feels for the drivers, that is so difficult to tell from these angles. Pitsman in the pits. There's only Jan that haven't boxed yet. Will be trying to showcase the pace that he showed in qualifying and earlier in this race. Still a driver with the fastest lap currently, to see if he can catch up to Sebastian Reinl, who is quite a bit up the road from him. He will have to go through or get past Patrick Prince before he can even start thinking about Sebastian Reinl at this point. But a long way up. He also needs to be careful that he don't get Andy King too close to him, since King could potentially also snatch away a position. It seems to have been a pretty bad day from, I was about to say the front row, but the right-hand side of the grid is what I meant. The two best placed cars on the right-hand side of the grid have dropped down from their starting positions. Though in theory, Van Doren would only have dropped one, as Planner still needs to come into the pits. Who was the pole man, mind you, but he have been in some sort of small incidents and have had many difficulties during the race, which have placed him in a bad position. After the pit stop round, it looks like that Wouter Wins have a great, at least a somewhat big lead down to Iron van der Linden in P2 in the AM class and Steve Parker in third. Just within a second of Iron van der Linden. As we get a good picture here of Wouter Wins. I shouldn't call him worst. Ooh, that looks like that Van Doren and was that King? That could have been King, the black Ferrari up ahead. It was. They might have had some sort of contact there, so they were both very slow there. Van Doren have dropped their position. It seems like that our camera guy is working everything he can, all of his 3 legs and 2 arms, to get a replay of that going. As we're just waiting in tension to see first drive through of the day for track cuts. It seems like I choose. I'm well aware that there have been another drive-through, but I think that Midas was for speeding in the pits, as he got that on the outlap from the pit lane. Didn't know exactly if it was across the pit line he got it, but I think that was speeding. But these twos have gotten the drive-through for track cuts. That's guaranteed at this point. Replay inbound. Van Doren just minding his own business, driving nice and easily. I think that Van Doren might even be spinning. Yeah, Van Doren spins it once again.
Like just
And
the one
King,
wheel
and flicks King.
Oh,
King gets sent into pivots and just continues driving as if nothing happened.
that's pretty nice.
That seems to be an alcohol issue there for the C. Even mentioned in the chat very quickly there from Horst as well. Alcohol issues from CBSR. Another drive-through, Frank Hopp got a drive-through as well, as he's in the pit lane saving that immediately. There'll be at least 2 for track cuts, as Johan Planners have gone into the pits to get some fresh tires with under 20 minutes to go. Going as deep as possible for him, or at least as deep as he dared before the tires went off. Just to see a sea of red we had at the bottom of the screen with a double DTs and a DSQ, as we have pictures here of Sidek leading the way. Big gap from him and down to Sebastian Reinl. If he even started lapping the he let Frank hop there as he came off the pits, which means that IQs have gone a lap down as well. Planners in the pits and leaving, it looks like. Van Doren on the back of King, trying to gain that position back that he lost after spinning and making that contact, sending King into an almost tornado-looking state of mind, as he got thrown around in that car quite heavily. Must have been a shock for King as well, being spun with that kind of speed. It looked very fast. Van Doren applying the pressure all he can, all he have learned. He's driving almost as well as when he's running from the police in real life, trying not to get stopped for drink driving.
Oliver, you shouldn't say something
Van
like
Doren
that on stream.
Well, but it's true. Slide there from Van Doren. Seems like it does have some issues with that particular corner. Optimum track conditions, by the way, the track have gone optimum once again. Interesting that Van Doren still struggles with the car. Seems a bit loose, maybe. Although I know that we have seen earlier in the race that Van Doren have a lot of top speed, so he could maybe have got low wing settings on the car, which would explain why his car looks so loose through the high-speed corners. Better lines than King through the first couple of corners. He can use that to get very close up the rear of him. Now all he needs is the good exit from this, and he could have a potential of an overtake on the back end of this straight. The first real straight off the track, even though it is curving ever so slightly. Not the best of exits there from Van Doren. A bit far to launch it, I would say, and he stays behind, tucks in, and maybe he's starting to think about where he can do it later on the brakes from Van Doren. Loses a bit of time, as this could get spicy down the back straight. We have seen how Van Doren can get a lot of speed out of that Mercedes down the straight, but he needs to get this overtake done on King, otherwise he'll get that dirty air and the high speed stuff at the end of the straight, or the two Kings, or three Kings I should say, on the back side of this straight. A bit too far behind to really be threatening at the minute. And if he can keep it under control, which it looked like he did, he can get very close up behind him here. We have seen Van Doren do a great job of that on board with Van Doren now. Driver's point of view. As we can see Andy King moving ever so slightly back over to touch the curves, using as much of the inside as possible. The corner does have sort of a camber there. It helps you turn that corner if you get into the apex of it. Feels really nice hooking that up. A lot of the corners on this track are actually slightly cambered, and most of them in a positive way. From these angles they look so close to each other, but also very similar on pace. Not much in it from Van Doren. He will have to drive his heart out, all the alcohol percentages out at least, to get close to him.
King seems to do a really good job with the exits. He's really nailing his exits, which makes it really hard for Van Doren to get his car along the Ferrari.
Yeah, you know, that's a good point, that as long as you can nail your exits on a track like this, which this time King didn't get the best of corners there. As long as you can nail your exits on a track like this, you are pretty safe on the end of the straight, since it will force the driver behind to be slightly slower on the exit of the corners. He will have to use the toe to get up to you. And will there not many places where you can actually use the toe to that great of an advantage. This time King made a little bit of a mistake. Van Doren struggling to keep control of the car, coming out of the fast right-hand kick out of the brake tab. Now he's really pressuring King through the final parts of the track. This time around he does fall a little bit back here, coming into the final corner, getting very close. It seems like Van Doren have sort of tendencies to go much deeper into the corners than King. Much deeper than you prefer, but he is using all of the track available for him, Aaron Van Doren is. This King is doing his best job of just focusing on getting in the way of Van Doren and not losing position. P4 is a good result for King. one spot off the podium, as we have the Audi of Patrick Prince on the podium for the first time this season. It looks like that will be a possibility, and in reality, if we can keep it on track for the remainder of 12.5 minutes roughly. This time Doran tries the exit strategy, does get a good exit there, slight over speed, but not the greatest of overtaking corners, but he could get this set up, forcing Kim kick to the inside. Very deep goes for Doran, but a good exit he could have, but not good enough. He doesn't have the speed or momentum coming through that to get that done. As Mountain Woods asks, I think he asks the CBSR, you guys have a video from your driving Shilton during Enduros. I do believe that CBSR does stream their races, and we sometimes get some video feeds up on the stream as well, where we can see how much beer they actually drink. They have promised us for the 24-hour race that they'll show us their beer supplies before and after the race, so we can sort of keep a count on how much they're drinking. Also, we hope to get an hourly update in the commentary booth from the CBSR team to just have a chat about what's going on, what went on track the last hour, and how much that they have been drinking whilst not in the car.